like we won 6 in a row in the league, right?
Huh?
It's like we just won 6 in the ACC, right? It's a good day. No, certainly got all the letters back, so you always wait for that. And, thrilled about the group. I really think, given back in the spring when we, made our staff changes and then really focused on a recruiting philosophy moving forward, it's neat to see it pay off today. Staff did an amazing job staying focused, and we were on the road running. We hadn't been on the road in a year, so it's neat to be back out there and make some decisions, and kids that are great fits, kids that can really play. I wouldn't underestimate either. We were able to weaponize Rolfs in that facility again a little bit. It was open, then it was closed because of the pandemic. But I think too, it's the people in it, and Dixon and Tony are down there on that first floor, and I like where the third floor is right now, which is our staff. So I'm sure the assistants have juniors for me to call when I walk back to the office and turn the page real quick. But certainly a really gifted group of kids that can really help us make a difference.
If, given everything that happened with this program last year, and then with the staff changes, 6 months ago, somebody would have said, you know what, you're going to be sitting here on National Signing Day with a top 15, top 18, top whatever class. What would have been your reaction back then?
I don't know if I would have sat there and said, God, we're going to be able to deliver a top 15 class on signing day, but I felt if we could, restructure, we could really make a move. I've always felt good about the group coming back, the nucleus of kids coming back that have our current team, that played, and I really liked that we added a man in Paul, and we saw what we felt Blake would give us, and it's like, okay, if we can get things, I use the phrase, the third floor straight, and then I think we really have a chance. And so I'm thrilled because, Jim Frawley and I, my sport administrator, we had a lot of discussions through the spring and through the early summer as we got into it, and got where we needed to be as a staff, which is really powerful. And then it paid off as far as evaluation and, just the crop of kids we were into. So, I'm pleased with it. Now we got to go win some games, I do like the fact we were supposed to play. We thought we had Dell State either last night or tonight. Coach got the job, and a good friend of mine, he was a legendary high school coach in Delaware. And then he couldn't do it. His AD didn't want him to do it. And then I thought to myself, this was a couple months ago, back, and I said, Wednesday's going to be so important. The hell with it. I don't even want to play a game. Like, it's going to be really important how we finish out this recruiting class. We'll deal with our games on Saturday. And so we'll start with Northridge at noon on Saturday and get going. So maybe it's a little bit symbolic, too, that, we needed to deliver today with a big win before we get on to trying to earn some bigger wins.
After you get Lubin last week, do you kind of take a minute to yourself and say, piggyback this class with what you did with JR and Blake, and kind of have maybe just a little personal satisfaction?
Yeah.
Like this is,
yes,
this is big for the program, but it's also big for you.
No question. There's no question about it, Tom. I think, when our business is a matter of, you're in it long enough, you get put on the mat, you get backed up against the wall. How do you come off it? How do you fight and swing and fight yourself off it? And maybe that's why I've survived 27 years as a head coach. You're going to have bounce back kind of stuff, and it had to start with our recruiting. There's no question. So, I'm really pleased. I'm really pleased for this staff because I had a great, feel. Obviously, the first recruit we had to get was that guy Solomon. And that was, I started my recruiting back then, and we got him, and we plugged in around and with some new faces. But I really like where we're at. I like how our current team has reacted to our new staff. I think it's really been good for them, especially the veteran guys, to have some different voices coming at them and not mine all the time. I have found through 26 practices, I have picked my spots a little bit more, and that's probably why I have a voice. Remember how I'd lose my voice the first week always, and I've been a little more strategic about that because of the experience of our staff. So now we got to deliver in games, and I'm excited about that. I've always felt good about this group with Paul added to them and experience, and but man, do we have some challenges coming at us, right? And watching the late game last night from the Garden, I watched some of that. I told our staff today, I said, we were 2-1 against those two programs last year. This nucleus was 2-1 against the Kentucky Duke program. So, we got some kids that have risen to the moment, not enough yet, and then that's our job to help them do it more.
The kids you signed today, they'll be juniors at the end of 24, 25.
Yeah.
Was that addressed at all as to
Not
what your status is after 24?
Yeah, not really. I mean, I think that's probably something Jack and I should talk about, quite frankly. I've just, when we did this contract, it was, great to have that kind of longevity at a place, but I think you're probably getting to a crossroads where you probably should have that discussion over it, over the next year, and hopefully you can do a good enough job that's something that, would be evaluated.
You talk about picking your spots. Was that difficult for you? Have you adjusted?
Yeah, no, I have. I think with, because Anthony and I have done so much together, that was really a key, to have him back, to handle our defense, and, to really kind of share about and to have his energy and voice on the defensive end. And, through 26 practices in the fall and 10 in the summer, he has been really loud on that end, and our kids have responded fabulously to it. And so that was that. I think when you when you trust like that as the leader, then you learn to delegate a little bit more and do that. And I think you go through cycles. If you coach 30 years as a head coach, I'm going to do it today because I'm not sure they're going to do it how I want it. I'm going to be the voice today. And there's certain days I've got to be more the voice, and game day, more of the voice, so it's go ahead.
You'll have energy saved up.
Yeah.
Could you comment on the three signees and what you see in their game?
Yeah, let's start with Big Dom Campbell, kind of one of those wide body carved space guys that you can throw it to in the post, and he's got a feel for the game and can turn and make plays. He's working to get himself in better shape. When I saw clips of him back in the spring before we really got on him, I was excited. He reminded me of Mike Pegues, who actually was the head coach at Louisville last night. How about that? I texted him about 4 o'clock. I said, keep him loose. He goes, oh, Coach, I need to hear that. Thanks, I need to hear that. Use your smile. Yeah, Coach, I need to hear that. Anyways, Mike was an undersized frontline guy who, was a little heavy as a young player, but had all the footwork and hands. And Dom, I think, certainly has that. In JJ, just a really explosive guard. The area where I was so impressed this summer was his ability to see the floor and pass it. I didn't know he could do all that well. That continues to impress me. He could always score it and shoot it, and physically he's built for it, And then Ven is, I as we watched Ven through the summer, and I went to his first workout September 9th. We got there the first day. We got to JJ at 6 in the morning, and then, thank God we were able to get our plane, and Tony and I got to that Orlando workout day one because I think the coach was, well, who really wants them? And we got there, and halfway through the workout, I went up to Coach. I said, this is Mooney and Bonzi, kind of. It would be that kind of development arc. And Coach Burke is really an experienced guy. Of course, he knew Mooney from Orlando, and he certainly knew Bonzi, and I think that struck a chord. But he's a big face-up forward, can run, shoots it a little bit. Physically, really the whole package there. So, and I think all three of those guys really saw immediate playing time. We sold that hard. I know we have these seniors that still have eligibility, but I don't know where that's going to be, and that'll have to probably work itself out, later in the season. So, we really sold immediate playing time, which I think we're going to have.
I don't know if this came into play, but his parents are from Haiti, correct?
They did, and I'm glad you brought that up, Tim. We were down there like the second or third time, and I turned to Tony White. Tone did a great job managing this one, and Hump did a fabulous job managing JJ and Dom's situation. And I turned to him and I said, we do all kinds of stuff at Notre Dame with Haiti. I said, pull it up, pull it up. I'm hitting him. We're watching the workout. He goes, what do you mean? I said, just pull up Notre Dame and Haiti. And all this stuff comes up. I said, oh, my God. And I think it really struck a chord with the family and all the things. And then the kicker was, I don't know if I've ever had a trainer be a key guy recruiting a kid. Nixon is Haitian. And they spoke Creole to each other at my house on the visit. I'm sitting there. I think they were talking about me sometimes, but in Creole, right, Coach? That goes. But Nixon was like, everything was kind of calm when they got here, and you come all the way from Orlando to South Bend, Indiana, and wait, there's a Haitian trainer, and I don't know, maybe that was just fate, right? And it was in the cards. So, but. You know what we also did on both those visits? It wasn't football weekends. We may have learned something. Don't get me wrong, man. The football weekends are really fun. But a lot of these kids, they're basketball players. And what we were able to do is get them at my house with our team and this staff and all the families. And they could really interact in that setting at my house in both JJ's case and Ven's case. And I think families especially saw interaction and staff and children and our players, and that was more powerful on a Saturday afternoon than a cool football weekend. So we got to keep that in mind moving forward.
Following up what Tom was talking about, a few months ago, Lubin wasn't on the radar for you, Campbell wasn't on the radar for you, and there was about a 3-week stretch where a lot of the guys that were on the radar for you chose somewhere else.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they're always kind of on the radar, but they had not really emerged. Starling always was, and that was really a long-term process. Dom was a little bit more of a late one, but it came by way of Pat Connaughton's AAU coach, who we really trust, Mike Crotty. And when he says, this one's for you, I really trust him. And it was me more pounding the table for Dom. I think some of our staff was like, well, I said, no, I think we need to get him out in June. This is a big guy, frontline guy. He's a great student, and he's only going to get better and get in shape. And, of course, when we offered him, then Oklahoma offered him, Penn State offered him, Stanford. How that goes, that happens. And, and then Venn was a guy that Coach Slow got his name. Anthony got his name kind of in June when he got here, and we watched him in Omaha, and I saw him in Omaha a bunch, and then the NBA Players Academy. And then the more it started to unfold, he was a great fit for us. He's a great student. This is the kind of kid he is. Unbeknownst to me, he just took the ACT. There's no requirement for eligibility. And I was talking to him one day. He goes, yeah, Coach, I took the ACT the other day. I said, what? He goes, yeah, I just want to see how I do. I said, that's pretty good, So I think the fit that way and the academic fit. But he's ready to. They're all ready to play as freshmen, and we're going to need them to.
Starling's game is.
He's really
complete top to bottom.
Yeah, he's got. What's neat about him too is there's a charisma that's infectious, and he's really an energy guy with his teammates. I think a lot of young players just kind of play, and maybe they're a little bit of wet blankets, and you know, not that they're selfish, but they, you know, they can't lift other guys up, you know, emotionally and with good energy, and he's just got great juice about him. I went down to watch him play the other day at Lullomere, and he's so happy when his teammates do something. The court charisma is something I talk to him a lot about through the recruiting, and I think it struck home. His parent, you know, he's got a charisma and an energy about him. You know, his smile will light the building up, and then, you know, I fast forward and I think, wait a minute, Blake Wesley and him, oh, that's pretty good. Man, I can't even screw that up.
So, in addition to the staff changes you talk about being the big thing, besides that, was there any kind of like a difference in approach with having all the guys talk to one kid or anything?
Yeah,
Kind of
no,
different
that's a great question. You know, I actually just had everyone involved over at Brothers for a little celebratory lunch, and that starts with, you know, our you know, Rachel's sitting here and our graphic people and Oak, and you know, there's such a constant beat that you have to come with, and it's not text and phone calls anymore, right? It's what they can see and visualize, and some, the graphic stuff that we put out, and I think all of our staff was, and my theme was, let's be really creative. Continue to be creative with what we can do. Continue to be creative with name, image, and likeness. And let's go, man. The door's open here a little bit. And I think, you know, it wasn't two guys calling a kid, but the thing that I think was powerful was the makeup of this staff together in my house for 3 hours in the afternoon, and a family being able to interact. They knew me because I was out there through September. They needed to come here on our turf and feel them. And I just was really confident that this group, and their families included, their wives, their children, would give a powerful impression to parents, especially.
So it was on the non-football weekends, like not just you and Slow and Tone, but
Yeah.
Slow's wife, Tone,
Yeah, everybody. Oh, yeah. It's a family affair, and I've always tried to do that. Like, you know, we've always had the wives included and their families, and I want their kids. I want them to see the whole, you know, package of everything. You know, Suzanne obviously set the whole thing up at my house, and we had a gaming truck. You ever seen one of those? Only our young staff would figure that out. It's a 18-wheeler with like 10 video game stations in it. That thing pulled up Ven's weekend right out. My neighbors were like, "What in the hell is going on?" And you know, kids are playing, the families are playing. Yeah, it was all creative, aggressive, good stuff, and it's neat to see it pay off today.
What did you learn about Tone as a recruiter, and how nice was it? It seems like Hump took another step as a recruiter.
Yeah. I think you know, Hump's just he's just, you know, he's just one of the great young ones out there. I don't think we'll have him long. He's going to have his head coaching opportunity very, very soon and deserves it. But you know, he touches every base. He thinks for you. So, you know, the ability to connect with families. And Tone has a toughness about him. There's something about being at Lehigh and Siena and having to grind. And I remember those days at Delaware and get creative and figure it out this way. There was something about that I thought that would really help us. Yet he knew us because he played here and he knows his alma mater. But there's a lot of personality on that staff. And, you know, at my house a couple times, I found myself being able to just step back and not have to interact as much and let those guys be themselves. And they're really good dudes, and families can connect with them. And that's been a powerful chemistry that you hope for when you made changes, but, you know, you feel you have it.
With NIL that you touched on earlier, how much of that was a conversation with going after someone like JJ's caliber, Ben's
Yeah.
caliber, or even Don? Is it something like, hey, look at the opportunities that Notre Dame athletes might have, or a little more, here's what we can do?
Well, I think, you're not allowed to really get specific yet, but I think what we've done, and Rachel's part of it, what we've done with our NIL stuff is make presentations on the weekend. The one thing that I would sell really hard, and I think the 3 kids that signed today understood it, was the brand. How to use our brand and align with our brand. Look at some examples out there. Certainly we had some going on in the fall with our football kids, which was really cool. Our basketball guys, not as extreme, camp here, little things there, but, to kind of tell them, by the time they get here in June, the 3 of them, it's all going to be, we're going to have even clearer pathways and aggressive pathways for them to take advantage. And so I think we did a good job presenting from our NIL people.
2 questions go for Saturday. On Northridge, does that come about because Godfrey was there originally? And also, how do you handle scheduling that? Like,
Yeah.
who handles scheduling?
Pat Rogers is going to be kind of our point man on scheduling, but I think Anthony and I will always talk through different people. These first 2 games are the payback from the Legends Classic that we canceled. We didn't go to Brooklyn, but we also didn't play. It may have been these 2 people, or it may have been 2 others.
Eastern Washington.
Yeah, it was 2 others, but Rick Giles, who we agreed to do the Legends with, when we backed out of it and said we're not coming, that was tough for many of those promoters to swallow. Jim and I agreed that, hey, he said, will you at least play the home games next year at the same amount the contract called for before COVID? I said, absolutely, we'll do that. Because we want a relationship with Rick Giles moving forward because we play in his events. So these are kind of the paybacks for the Legends. And then, as we go into this world, you're thinking with scheduling, the crossroads ends, and I'm okay with that. People need to understand that Indiana was the one who started the whole lit the fuse on not wanting to do this anymore. It's not us backing out or the other schools wouldn't back out. Purdue really wants it. Butler certainly wants it. It's a nice little gig for them, right? But I don't mind it giving us some flexibility now after we've done it for 11 years. And it was great to play maybe some former Big East schools. We're going to start a series with Marquette next year. They come to us. We certainly have the Kentucky situation out there with one more game in a neutral site. We don't know where that will be. Do we do another home and home? Now, when the Crossroads was ending, part of it was I already play one Big Ten team every year. I'm out here in the Big Ten footprint, and I fight the Big Ten all the time. I'm always going to play one in the ACC Big Ten Challenge. That's always going to be a given. Can I get away from that a little bit? We go to come back to the UCLA. Georgetown is somebody that will probably, do you do Villanova? All things that are discussing. But then we did the consortium. Remember the announcement with the Pac-12, Big Ten, ACC announcing cooperation? Well, that may mean we do have to do a home and home with the Big Ten. And you know what? Maybe that's Indiana. I actually talked to Mike on the road. I said maybe we should go back to the home and home because I know how that lights up our area and our people. And so, but you certainly have, because of cheaper travel, convenient, whatever. We got a lot of Big Ten options. I was trying to get away and have a little more flexibility to go east or go west. But given this consortium, and one of the things that was talked about from our AD's point of view was, we want to schedule more with the Big Ten across all sports here because it's cheap and convenient and a bus ride. Thanks, guys. See you Friday. See you Friday.
Coach,
Coach, congrats.
Thank you.
Great stuff.